All right, Cyber Traders, we are good to go here. Welcome on back here this Wednesday morning, May 3rd. Great to see Ray, Dan, Kathleen, Andre, Ronnie, and Charles and Sam, all of our members alike inside our live trading room. Great to have all of us on social, back on YouTube, Facebook Live, the works. So, folks, I'm not wearing my normal polo this morning. Actually, let me start off by getting this out the way. I'm wearing a nice little t-shirt today. You see that? I want to give a nice shout out, actually. Let me get on webcam inside our live trading room for that, too. I'm on social with that right now. Should be good to go on webcam now in Cyber Group. Where's my good friend Andrea at? Where's Andrea? Not Andre, but perhaps Andrea. Andrea C. It's not in good lighting, but I'm wearing my Forno Cultura shirt right now from my good friend Andrea C. inside our live trading room. So how about that? Wanted to show that off to begin. But I also wanted to show off a couple of trades that we had here in pre-market. We had the APM up big. We talked about that on our YouTube channel early this morning. The IMGN, the AKAN, the AKLI, just so many different runners already in pre-market, folks. If you weren't able to trade them early before the market has opened up yet, that's all right. I mean, hey, right now at this point, we're going to kind of be waiting in hesitation for the Fed meeting to conclude. That'll be later this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have Powell come on at 2:30, Jerome Powell, a little competition for myself there when I jump on coming back in the afternoon. So he'll give some remarks at 2:30 Eastern time. Then we'll see what's out there heading into the close today. Then we'll see what's out there heading into the remainder of this week. So I would say really going forward, this afternoon and the remainder of this week will really be the meat and potatoes of like your trading. We've had such a good start already, so I really shouldn't say that just yet. Between GDC, between the Uber trade from yesterday, and a couple crazy ones from yesterday too. MINM, TIRX. Let's get to all those here coming up actually first. So from yesterday, I mean, it's all pop and drops. So we know that at this stage. We're not trying to hold these overnight. That's like cardinal rule number one. I did not get my hands on this MINM trade. I was actually prepping up for the afternoon meeting, and then I was doing the meeting. So this was running up pretty much right when I was kind of teaching here at the time. Popped up pretty nicely from like $3.50 all the way up towards $14. Just one of many that we were able to at least find, let alone catch. I think this had some pretty thin liquidity out there on the book altogether. So, hey, it looks like a Christmas tree. Right. So, you're not trying to get stuck on the top of the roller coaster on the way down. I cannot stress that enough. Same as Fausto here each and every day. Here at TIRX, same deal. This one ended up closing lower than from where it had opened up even. I mean, hey, did a lot of that move in the after hours the day before. But then otherwise pre-market early, then after the open, this ended up just exploding, led to a great move. So we talked about this more inside our live workshop, our Traders Talk workshop conducted in Cyber Group. So we talked about the breakout over 5, and when it got halted, it pulled back to 480, led to a very fortunate entry from there. Left a fortune on the table, though. I mean, hey, you're not going to be perfect on the exit as much as you want to be as pristine and perfect on the entry. So, it's not a matter of how much you can like really get out off the top, but if you're able to take a manageable entry going with the momentum, then you're going to be able to scale out and work out a good profit either way, right? So, if you're up a comfortable amount that you're not normally up, I would look to take the money and run sooner than later. So TIRX, the MINM trade from earlier. We also had Uber, so it's not all the pop and drop. So from yesterday, Uber coming out with good earnings. We talked about this all throughout the morning into the afternoon, and this played out perfect from our Traders Talk workshop, actually. I didn't go over this as much in the afternoon meeting, really. Just talking about the 35.50 level. There was so much pent-up volume from pre-market there, really a lot of selling. And if I can go back on time and sales here just to really show, I don't mind doing that right now. Got a little time on our hands here, folks. So a little lesson here for all of us on YouTube and Facebook Live, all of us on our social streams here today. Let me actually try and lessen this a little bit. I'll do that. See if I can get this straight here right out the gate. Yep, there we go. So opening bell print from yesterday, it was right off at 35. So between 35.50 and then ultimately the whole number level at $35, both of which led to a huge level to work off of throughout the day. Well, hey, it built up and up and up. It pulled back after the open, but then it built up and up and up and eventually used that 35.50 as resistance. It flipped it into support later on, led to a beautiful $1.50 move up pretty much. It was close to a $1.50 move. So, hey, heading into the open, Uber could easily be a stock on our side list. It's not really trading a whole lot in terms of liquidity on the order book just yet. It will fill in once the market opens up. Let me reset this here pretty briefly. Just one moment. There we go. All right, so I'll write this down. Actually, my side list, I didn't write this down on my notepad just yet. All right, so those were three I wanted to discuss. We have AMD coming off earnings this morning. Typically on Fed days, that's when they report. That's my little like shortcut for knowing AMD there. We had a couple others, so let's go through. We'll go from top to bottom right now and show off what we ended up following from earlier today. This does not look like a big move compared to the after hours yesterday here on APM, but man, this ended up making a really strong run up after 8 o'clock. So we always talk about the infamous 8 o'clock move here inside our live trading room. Well, it pulled back at first, it flattened out, and it was a very big spread and thin book at the time, too. So it was not an easy trade. But once it ended up kind of testing 8 early in pre market, it gave you a clue to ask, hey, what happens if this could re break over 8 later on? So, of course, the 8 o'clock move, it shook around there a bit more, but hey, ended up leading to a re-break, led to a really good run up from that point. Hey, for as much up as it already is, plus 187% right now. We said it before in terms of holding overnight, but you don't want to hold in pre-market leading into the open. Going into the opening bell here over the next 15, 20, 25 minutes, you don't want to get stuck holding on to this trade. More often than not, we'll see profit taking. I'll put this on our list in hopes of 8 becoming a pretty good support level, over time, but all right, so Roger calling out the IMGN Insider Live Trading Room number 2. Wow, nice pop here, actually. Really strong pop. However, though, early in pre-market, it's filling in more now. This did have some pretty thin volume as well, so I wasn't as keen to trade it at first. The stock IMGN, though, like if you're a longtime member inside our trading room, we've been following the stock off of just given news or earnings, just pre-market activity. We haven't really seen it around the 10s in quite some time, though, so it should be a pretty fast trade as it has popped already. Let me just pull up level 4 right now, book map here, and I'll show you what this looks like. So we got level 4 here. I got to reset my volume dots right now. Just one moment. There he is. There he is. There's John. Knew he wouldn't miss this. There we go. Ended up leading to a nice breakout off 1050. Really off 11, though. Now at this stage, with it seemingly popping 11 so fast, on a pullback, perhaps 11 could be support. I would still wait to see a little more volume join the bid to confirm that, though. But after the open, I would look for 11 to be a potential support level. You have a huge print that just got filled live right now, though, at 9:04 Eastern time. About a 227,000 share print filled on the bid at 1150. Let's peel this back, and I'll show you that on the tape. So it might be a aggregation there, but we'll see. There, yep. I mean, for the most part, it's a chunk of volume, and it's like really a lot of red, a lot of green altogether, a bunch of volume collectively getting filled off that 1150. I mean, for right now, it's popping up a little higher, but let's wait till after the open to see how that level reacts, whether it's going to be a definitive support and then it launches higher, or if it pulls back under it here, then I would assume, resistance to be off that 1150. So IMGN, yeah, we'll definitely add to our list here for right now. Can wacky lighting here in my home office too, if you see that. All right, we'll keep it going though for right now. I did think that earlier the AKAN was like the most volatile and like also very liquid, and I mean that in a very positive way. Just really tradable stock in pre-market. I was hoping for the AKLI to be that way. Just cheap stock. It was up big as well in pre-market. I took a couple break evens on this trade before it broke lower, but I missed out a little bit because AKAN ended up having a nice little couple bounces off of 225, 230-ish, and now trying to move back up towards the VWAP here. So, yep, I'll add this to our list as well. If you're new to our YouTube channel right now, you might be asking, like, where the news at? What's the news on this stock? What's the news out on APM as to why it's up 180% right now? Not to sound like ignorant, but we don't trade the news. We couldn't care less as to why the stock is like actually up news-wise. If there's no news, that is a slight red flag. Perhaps you'd think, oh, then it's going to pull back down. So we are a believer of that, perhaps, but otherwise, we follow the big money. We look at big levels based on the chart, based on level 3 and level 4, VWAP at times too, but so far, a good list for what we have. APM, AKAN, IMGN, top 3 already. Skip over this though. KRBP, bit of a spotty chart here so far. Not much of a trend here. Moved up at first after 8 o'clock, but then nasty dive. It flattened out after. The AKLI, I thought that there was going to be some good potential on this trade. Now at this point, looks like 163 seems to be the larger of the two levels. At first, it was off 160, and that's where I had a couple of entries at first, but then pulled back, just went break even. So, hey, after the open, perhaps I'll grab this if it makes that move again. Just don't get these two confused between AKAN and AKLI. It's pretty easy to. All right, we'll keep it going, folks. Ooh, nice pop here on SNTG stock from, I think, Friday last week. We ended up trading, or Monday perhaps it was, losing track of my days. Pop and drop on Monday from 3 up towards 10. Making a secondary type of move right now, but I'm really not a fan of the book. I feel like it's just going to pull back down pretty quickly once the market opens up. I'll write it down. I'll put it on our side list, though, for right now, at least. Ruth, the second I saw this gap up, it popped up on my Benzinga scanners here. I knew right away what happened, so I'm not even going to check the news out on this stock. One thing I could tell you is that this is like definitively a buyout. So we move away from that. We move away from this. The GDC trade was down 85% from Monday's close yesterday afternoon. Look at that drop. That is nuts. So this could be easy to kind of say, easy to hear, like, oh, of course I'm not going to hold that overnight. It moved up too much. There are some folks that do. So we got to cross our T's, dot our I's here and say that, like, listen, you can't hold these overnight. Even if it was up 20%, it's not definitively an overnighter. All right, so we keep it going. What else? What else we got here, folks? CNSP popped up early, actually nicely after 840, topped off around 215, 220 the price, and then pulling back. Decent liquidity. Hopefully, it just doesn't dump right back lower here after the open. I'll add this to our list for right now. Got a bunch of A's on our watch list: APM, AKAN, AKLI. We got IMGN, and then CNSP here. All right, cool. Sydney saying IMGN 5-year high is 1231. Oh, that's good to know, Sydney. I appreciate that. That's a good call out there. Good charting. WWR, former runner for us in the past over the last few years, I recall. Just not really doing much right now. Maybe we'll call it out afterwards. IMBS looks like this had a pop yesterday. Looks like it's trying to move up even more this morning. If it had a more liquid book, I'd be a fan of it. But for right now, I feel like there's going to be others on the loser side that we'll take a look at in just a moment. All right, we got Wint, not much happening there. QH, former runner from this week. Former pop and drop, you could say too. Huddy, same as well. Notice the theme here, right? All these from earlier this week are making a second little gap up or little move up. Don't get lured in by them. Don't get lured in. GFAI, not all of them are gapping back up again. This thing just popped up back from a couple weeks ago. Right back down lower. LEJU. I got that one right this time. My dyslexia was pronouncing that all this week. LEGU. All right. Keep it going. EL. Not much happening. Not much happening on the order book. Great trend down big today, but outside of our price range, I'd say there. I got AMD down off earnings today. So again, we had talked about that just earlier, coming off the Fed meeting or going into the Fed meeting, the conclusion of it. Typically AMD reports the same day. So down big right now. It will fill in. The order book will fill in after the open here for this trade. So you know what? If it's outside of your price range, then move over it. Don't get distracted by it, move on from it. But I'm going to add this to our main list. I'll probably look to follow this myself on smaller share size, but I'm a sucker for AMD. I've been a big fan of this company as a whole for the last 7-8 years now. At this point, I have made my biggest mistake ever on AMD in my life. So I will perhaps make a YouTube video on that in the near future, going over that. I'll be kind of chewing on tinfoil to kind of recite that story again. Michael saying weak guidance, though, this morning on AMD. So that is not good news altogether. I'll look more into the earnings report myself, but Michael right there is saying weak guidance. That's probably the most important part of an earnings report altogether. Starbucks down big, a little bit more pricey. All right, folks, I think that's going to wrap it up here. If there's anything else looking good, anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5%, just type it in the chat board here. Just let me know. I got to fix my lighter, my lighting here. From Dave saying AMRN earnings today. If it's after the close, then we're not going to really follow it just yet. probably tomorrow morning if it ends up showing any good activity. But yeah, there's not much to it here so far, Dave. We traded AMRN years back, years and years ago. So, it was a fun trade back then. But we'll pass there. We'll go back to the sideless stocks. We'll go back to Uber. We'll go back to the SNTG. I guess SNTG showing a little bit more here, a little bit more of a pop. Hopefully it just doesn't come back down now from this point. But, order book filling in just a slight bit more, tiny bit more. Hopefully it fills in a lot more from here. I'll add this to our main list now at this point. I'll give it a shot. Give it a look. All right, folks. So, hey, let me know if there's anything else. I'm going to just jump to Benzinga Pro here. I'll show it here before we finish up. Got IMBS, SNTG, all of which we talked about already. Ruth is a buyout. That's just about it. I mean, hey, we don't need to, go to the bottom of the barrel to realize, folks. I mean, on Fed days anyway, we got to wait till pretty much 2 p.m. to see what happens, the real announcement conclusion. 2:30, Powell will be on to do a press conference or, a little blurb, and he'll give some comments. He'll always probably recite something very negative about the market, so probably be looking forward to hearing that. And with that said, folks, hey, for all of us on YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of our social streams right now, I'll be back on the mic later on today. I had to tag on for Fausto, early this morning. I know he's in Florida, just meeting up at TradeStation, the fine folks there, Carl and Chris, and a couple more folks at TradeStation. So looking forward to hearing about that. And with that, folks, hey, he'll be back tomorrow. But if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a quick email. Josh at c2trading.com is my email. So if there's any questions or trades that you wanted to go over, let me know. Otherwise, though, if you wanted to join in our live trading room, you could tell I didn't have my energy drink this morning because I'm stuttering over and over. I don't have my energy drink here. I got my water, no energy drink. But if you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the green banner below the stream right there to get yourself set up, to get yourself started. But for Dave, for Leda, for Joyce, for Michael, for Lawrence, and Dan, and all of us there right now, I'm going to get my energy drink. You might think I'm energized right now, but I'm just normal Josh right now. I'm looking forward to this morning, folks. Hey, I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.